All right, dueling Silverados, check them out, 2500 and a 3500. Actually, that one's a Sierra, but we're not working on either one of those guys today because we are bringing the green lifted Jeep back in. I'm going to start a series of repairs on this. The first thing that I'm going to start on is getting this truck out of the way so I can back it out. Then we're going to nose it into the shop over yonder, and I'm going to disassemble the ignition lock cylinder for the key and rebuild a new one to rekey it so that binding condition goes away. We start this Duramax up and get her out of the way here. This one had a check engine light. We put some glow plugs and whatnot in it. Glow plug number 2. Oh yeah, that one's going. Okay, back to the Jeep. Now, there was a previous episode where I did kind of the visual walkthrough on this Jeep, basically just to get a good idea of what we're working with here. And one of the first things we had found out is this ignition lock cylinder is very, very rough and does not like to turn. It seems to bind up, get stuck. Can't really like it. Oh look, now the starter's not working. Serious? There we go. Let's get the window down because it's about 187,000 degrees in here. So again, on the previous diagnostic video on this thing, we had found a wiring harness laying down above the transmission behind the engine, and that wiring harness appears to be rubbing through. All of the plastic wire convolute around the harness has become brittle and broken away, and now there's just bare wires sitting on top of the bell housing for the trans. And I believe the cause of the previous check engine light with this was that those wires are intermittently grounding and causing the modules in this vehicle to shut down. One of the circuits affected is the heated oxygen sensor on bank 1, that's driver's side, and there's I think like 5 or 6 transmission DTCs. Now, in the previous episode on this situation, I had moved around that wiring harness, and I believe I disturbed the short enough to where after a code scan clear, we no longer have the symptoms of the transmission fault, and we no longer have the check engine light. So what we're gonna do later on, probably not in this episode, is I'm gonna go in and pull the intake manifold off of this 4.7 liter V8 and then get access to the wiring harness behind the engine on top of the transmission and inspect further and make additional repairs. However, in this particular video, we're not gonna do any of that because I don't really have any workspace available at the current point in time. So what I'm gonna end up doing in this episode, again, is we're going to disassemble this ignition lock cylinder, replace it with a new cylinder that I have to rebuild with the kit that I've got over there in the box. So stay tuned, because this is gonna be a very good Jeep repair video. All right, moving down here onto the floorboard here, the first thing I think we need to do is get this knee bolster trim panel disconnected and pulled off of here. I don't see any fasteners in it, so I believe it's just got like some clips that hold her in here. Yeah, I think it comes straight back. Come on, plastic. What are we doing? Oh, we're kind of... what's his problem? Yeah, I see a clip. There's a clip up there. It's got to like pull a little harder, I guess. Two-hand operation. There we go. Okay, so the skin is off, but it's not exactly what I wanted to do. Oh, well, that's nice. The skin came off, but this little black piece was also supposed to come off with it. So I broke something. Why are we not coming off here? That's a hinge. There's nothing holding it on except stuck clips. Cut, video fail. Ow! Scrape my fingers. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Pull that thing back. Okay. There. Okay, so the half of the knee bolster that I broke is removed. So I need to take this, put it back together, and then re-secure it. We'll do that later. Well, so it appears that there is actually no access to that ignition lock cylinder from the knee bolster, so it looks like I'm pulling more little components off. Shut her down real quick. Okay, there's our cylinder. I've never done one of these on a Jeep before, so I have no idea how this is supposed to come apart. There should be a little button somewhere that when this is in the on position, you push the button and then the cylinder, there we go, cylinder pops right out. You guys see that? Beautiful. Okay, so now we have that unit removed. Key and the lock tumbler. Let's get out of this oven of a vehicle here, and we're gonna go rebuild a new cylinder. So we're over on the bench. We have our old key and tumbler. See that right there? I need to figure out how to get the key out of this unit. Ah, I see what we're doing. We're getting hung up. See that? See how the cylinder's getting stuck? But twist a little harder. Go back. There we go. Okay, that's released. So this is a case where it's like dormant for the win. We got a part number 924722. This is an ignition lock cylinder. So that's basically this piece with the rebuild kit inside of it. Now, look at here. I ordered this from the parts store and it was delivered. But look, we got a tear in the box and the tape's opened. Another open box from the parts stores. I hope everything's in here, you guys. Let's see. Let's see what we need to see. Got some destructions. We have an open bag. We have a housing, the lock cylinder with no tumblers installed. You guys see that? So you can see through it right there. There's no tumblers. And we have some lubricant, a little packet of lithium grease, a warning in multiple languages, and the Dorman tag that has been removed and put back in the box. So that's what we got. Over here in the open bag of parts, let's see what's here. Some springs, hardware, detent pins, and some kind of an O-ring. We have a bag full of the springs. I don't even know if you can see them. They're tiny little guys. These are the springs that operate against the little tumbler keys. And then we've got a 1 through 5, 1 through 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I hope we're not missing bag number 5. These are the individual tumblers. And these are keyed differently. My light went out. Well, they're not really keyed. These are how you key the tumbler. If you look closely, you'll see there's the spacing between the top of these guys where that little tang resides. The spacing is different. So when we insert our key into the cylinder, the dips or the peaks and valleys rather on the key are going to engage on these little lock releases, and that is what is going to allow this inner cylinder to rotate freely within the outer cylinder, and that is what causes the locking mechanism inside this ignition lock cylinder. So what we're going to do is rebuild this to match the key pattern of this. That way we can replace this. Now, one of the first things I'm going to need to do is remove this inner cylinder from the outer cylinder. And I believe in order to do that, and according to the instructions, I need to press in this pin right here and this pin here and give this thing an additional like 1/8 of a turn counterclockwise, and that's going to line this up into a position that allows me to remove this cylinder. So what I've got to do is we'll stick this pocket driver in there. That's going to depress this detent, which is the pin. Flip it around and we'll get in behind that second one again with another pocket drive. Don't cut my finger again, I already got hurt once. We're gonna put this in the vise. Okay, we're past those detents. See that? I think it still isn't turning. Let's get some light in here. we're still not turning all the way. And when I pressed in the detent here and got past that little lip, we engaged another one right there. So I only have the one on the one side. Let's push that next pin down and see if that's the one that's going to send us home. Get under that guy, push her down. There it is. All right, so we have the inner cylinder removed from the outer cylinder. Now if you take a look right here, you can see the two pins. There's one pin. Next pin. This is what you feel when you're turning that key when it's riding on the little cams on the back of that plate. That's what you're experiencing as you're operating this lock cylinder. Now, this housing, there's not much left to that housing. No more moving parts except for like the spring-loaded little lock and that spring-loaded lock there. So we're pretty much done with the old parts here. Set that over there. By the way, there's also some springs down inside of those holes, which are not going to come out easily. See one spring? That's what pushes up on these pins, so those pins can slide and actuate against the inside, or the other cylinder rather. So leave those guys right there. So here, let's take a look at these little tumbler locks. You can see as we pull the key out, how they change their elevation on either side. See that? So when this inner cylinder is inside of that outer cylinder with no key in it, these little guys are sticking out, and that's what locks this cylinder into place so you can't rotate it, so you can't actuate the ignition switch on the back. It's not until you insert the key fully that it brings all of these little tumbler keys into alignment with the cylinder, allowing the cylinder to rotate within the housing. And that is how our lock works. So what we've got to do here is take this guy out, and we are going to pull out each and every one of these little locks, these little tumblers here. We're going to pull these guys out, and we're going to match them with the pattern, or match the pattern with the new cylinder. That way we can reuse the old key with a new locking device. Does that make sense? Good. I will utilize a pick in order to do this. We've just got to get a little bit of access behind these guys, and then we can just kind of pluck them right out of there. See that? Now the issue is these have got to be in order because we have to match up the new ones with the old ones. So, and in this case, if we're missing the number 5 packet, I'll have to reuse the 5s that came from the old cylinder. It's not ideal because they have some wear on them, but since it's open box lane, I gotta do what we gotta do. This one happens to be a 4, and it's gonna be hard for you guys to see, but there's a little 4 engraved in it, like right down there. So we're at a 4. The next one in the list, or in the line, that's going to be, get the spring out too, bear with me. There's a little spring in there that actuates on these guys. Yep. Yep, lost that one. So we're at 4. Next one is a 3. Yeah, you just give them a little bit of force and they should just pop on out of there. There we go. So 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. The spring out. And again, I have new springs, so these are all trash. 4, 3, 4, and then this number is also a 3, so we're 4, 3, 4, 3. Yeah, Yeah, complicated, huh? Let's pop that next one out. Bring the spring on with it. 43433. It's only using a couple numbers out of that kit. How about that? That's good, yeah. This one's a different number. I'm having a hard time getting the pick behind it. So we'll push it out from the back side. Right? I'm afraid it's gonna slip and I'm gonna stab a hole through my finger. Would not be okay. How about some pliers? Let me try to just yank this out with some pliers. Bear with me here. Here, I will use my electrical system crimper pliers here to get a hold of that. They got a good little grip on them. See a little grip right in there? Yep. So I should be able to just yank this out. This might have been the one that was hanging us up. Oh, seriously? Here, let's get this next one out on the front. That one's not coming out either. But I need to know the number. Oh, that one came right out. So this is not the next. I skipped the one that wouldn't come out. Also a 3. And we got one stubborn one that does not want to play nicely. Come out. There we go. And this one's code is it is a 1. So the code for this key is 3133434. 3133434. So now we'll get into our boxes. We'll get our springs and our new keys, new tumblers. And we're going to align these guys in line with the old set. That way the numbers are certainly matched up. And we can rebuild the new cylinder. So let me break out a 1. There's only one 1. Ooh, we couldn't reuse the old ones. These are a different width. That's interesting. I hope this is the correct packet. Okay, let's bust out the 3s. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 number 3s. 1, 2, 3, 4 number 3s. So we're going to use this entire packet of 3s. There's a 3. There's a 3. Another 3. The first 3. 3, 3, 3, 3, and then I need 2 number 4s. We have no number 2s. There's our number 4 right there. So I need to find the little packet of springs, itty bitty little guys. See on the cylinder how there's that little hole right there? That hole is where the spring drops into, and then we will drop our key or our tumbler in after the spring is inserted into the slot. So drop that one in, and we start with the first one in our series. That's number 3. That's in. Now we're gonna check it with the key, make sure it sits flush against the housing body. If it does not sit flush, then it will not work and will not turn. So that one's flush, we're good. Roll it over to our second slot. Yeah, this is a slightly different design. This is the number 1 key. We have to make sure we don't harm the spring in any way. Checking the next one. That's also riding flush, good. So that was the number 1. Drop the spring in the hole. Next one in the list is number 3. Drop her down, check it. That all looks very good. Flip it. Drop it in. A number 3 again. By the way, if you're doing this and you have a worn key where one of the new tumblers will just not sit properly, you can remove that tumbler and just skip it, and it just will not provide any locking force on the cylinder. It's okay to do that. I mean, yeah, you could pick the lock, but it's really not, or you could more easily pick the lock, but if you don't have a transponder key for the vehicle, you'll still never get the thing started, so it's inconsequential if you lose 1 key or 1 tumbler. Anyway, all 5 of these guys are lining up and proving to be flush with the key. So let's get the next one. I think this is our last one here. One spring down in the hole, and then come here. I can't pick it up. Oh my god. There. Looking good so far. I've got a, that was a 3 I just put in. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm missing a 4. I guess I was wrong on my count earlier. I don't know what I just did. Anyway, I've got 1 more to go. No worries. Drop in the spring. Drop in the number 4 key. Ooh, it popped, it fired back out at us. You see that? That one didn't lock in. Okay, that's all good to go, I believe. So, now we go over to our housing, and we have got to remove the 2 detent springs, the O-ring, and there's like a little plastic locking lever also inside of this little kit here. Bear with me. So 2 detent pins, 2 springs, an O-ring, and a little locking plastic lever device. Okay, so as per the instructions here, we've got this little plastic lock lever business right there. See that? And that's going to slip into this little slot right here. And I know it's hard to see inside of there, guys, but there's a little plastic pin in that slot. That pin, I believe, engages a button on the ignition switch. And that's the purpose of that lever, is to engage that little pin. So we're going to push that pin back. Yeah, see, there's the bottom of it right there. See that, see that thing sliding in and out? I'll show you. There, now you can see it. So we're going to push that back. And according to the directions here, I've got to have the key removed. This guy faces this direction. There's the slot. And then here is the little cammed little dealio. So we're just going to drop it in like so. You guys see that right there? So now we can probably push the pin back against it. And I think our next step is to drop in the detents and the springs inside of the housing. So we're on step E. It's pointing at the little detent springs, so we drop these guys down in the hole. But before I do that, we're going to install some of that white lithium grease to prevent that stuff from binding up in the future here. Let's get into this packet. So not the clean opening sequence that I was hoping for. I still didn't get into it. Look at that. So here, let's poke a hole in it. Now we'll take some of our grease. Put that in the hole. A bit more in the hole. There we go. We'll take the springs. Stick those guys in. Another little dab of grease on there. Couldn't hurt. I think I've got plenty. And we'll stick the pins into position. See that? Next step says to install this O-ring around the tumbler. The unit that came out did not have that O-ring, so I'm not certain what this is for, but we'll probably figure that out when we go to install it. And since it is an O-ring, it couldn't hurt to throw some grease on there. There we go. So I think I'm out of new parts. Everybody's assembled, right? Set this guy down. Put our key back in our cylinder here. Actually, these need grease on them. Oh no. These need grease on them as well before I install them. Bear with me here, guys. I'm just gonna shove a bunch of that down inside. There we go. Give it a flip. Bunch more grease. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Look at that. I like it. Okay, so now, no more screwing around. I think I've got everything in position where it's supposed to be. The little locks are all in place. Let's figure out how to get this guy back together. Put it in. We're gonna rotate it past all those two detent pins. And we've got one rebuilt, super smooth, non-binding ignition lock cylinder. Look at that. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, let's take this thing back to the vehicle, get it reinstalled in the dash, and then recheck the overall system operation. All right, back to the Jeep of all Jeeps. Let's get in this unit. Climbing on in here. So what we've got to be doing here should be real nice and simple. Like, this tumbler is still in the on position. You stick it in like so. Nice. It's a little rough. I'm gonna throw some more grease down in the bottom of that cylinder housing. We'll use the last of the lithium on that just to try to lubricate everything. Let me go fetch my pocket driver, because we've got to push the little lever button down to release it, right? A little bit more action here on this guy. So one more time, get this thing the reach under treatment. Push that button in. Pull that whole guy out right there. Yeah, looking inside of the hole, it's pretty decent in there. Everything looks fine, but I'm gonna fill that full of lithium grease and then we'll put this guy back together. Here, what I'll do, stick a bunch of it all over the place inside of here, over here. And the rest of it, put it on the fingertip and just shove it down inside those moving parts in there, wiggle it around. Ding. Smooth operator. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to call this one a success. That key is no longer binding and is operating as designed. Let's pull off our bit of blue stuff. There. That is there to protect the surface of that tumbler, so it doesn't get all scratched and marred up before you start working it with a key. Excellent. Cool beans. Now I just got to put that knee bolster back on down there that I didn't have to remove, and it's good to go. Darling!
Hi,
what are you doing?
You scared me.
I see you lurking.
I was reading an email.
This is your mandatory video appearance. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm gonna go.
Okay, see you later.
All right,
bye.
see ya.
I'm
Bye.
going over here. Alright, now it's time to mess with this little cover business that I broke. So what had happened is when I was tugging on this, the little plastic welds, it's basically they shove these plastic pins through on the other side, then they melt them, kind of like a rivet, and it effectively, well, it rivets the piece to the other piece. And I pulled those pieces of plastic out. So what I will do is put this back, and I'll just replace the broken stuff that I had caused with some little screws here designed for plastic. These came out of my extra screw bin, and I'm pretty much just going to find the center of those pegs, screw in these screws, and attach this with some fasteners rather than melted plastic. It'll probably be much more effective and have greater clamping force. See that one? That one's on. We'll do this next one over here on the front. Just kind of stick it right inside the hole on that pin. Those pins are hollow, and that's why we're able to achieve this with very low amounts of effort. I kind of lucked out. Sometimes you don't get this lucky and it breaks the pins off on the plastic. And then you're SOL, you gotta glue the thing back together or something. Okay, we'll do, it's too small. Got a Phillips here. It appears that some of these have been previously broken, so we're making good on a already failing part, I suppose. Screw that guy in. See, sometimes when your mechanic breaks things, it's a good thing, because then they can fix it to a level higher than when it started. Go in the hole. This screw is pretty long. I've got some concerns that it may bottom out on the pin before it actually bottoms out against the piece of plastic here, the black plastic. We'll see. And it doesn't want to screw in very well either. How about do this hole over here? We'll try that one. Come on, now get in there. Maybe some push on it a little bit. Go, go, go. See, I had to say something about improving the overall quality of this, and the last one doesn't want to go in. Epic fail. All right, we're hooking up now. This is good. I believe there's one complete repair. All right, climbing back on into the Jeep. Let's rehinge this silly little thing. Kind of just slide it on the pins there. Clip it on. That one didn't really want to clip. Key. See how easy the key comes out now? It just falls right out when you look at it. Look at that, beautiful. All right, guys, we have a successful ignition lock cylinder repair. This one is good to go. So, having said all that, I do not believe I have anything more at this particular time to offer you on this Jeep. At some point, like tomorrow, I'm gonna pull that intake manifold off of there, and we're gonna dig out the wiring harness and attempt to repair any chafed, bare, or grounding wires, and then reinstall the intake manifold. We'll do some spark plugs on it, and go out for some test drives to see if we get any more of those latent trouble codes that the TCM was coughing up at us. So guys, stay tuned for the next one. As always, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think about this ignition lock rekeying new cylinder replacement in the comment section down below or off to the side. Do not forget to engage that like and subscribe button while you're down there or over there. And most importantly, have yourselves a fantastic day. See you guys later in a Jeep, in an ignition lock cylinder, in a transmission.